Hey guys, this is Bacon Chris here, and sorry for not making any videos in a while. I was busy doing work, and I haven't made top 10s in a while. And this video was actually a request from some YouTuber. I forget who that person is, so today's top 10 is on my top 10 favorite Pixar movies. And if you hate any of these movies, I respect your opinion. And this March, Pixar will release two movies that I'm excited to see. Onward and Soul. And Pixar is one of my favorite movie companies. So let's begin. Number 10 is Toy Story. This is actually the first CGI animated movie of all time. And Toy Story is about two toys who get along. The main character, Woody, finds out that his owner, Andy, has got a new space toy named Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear thinks he's a real space ranger when he's actually just a toy. Woody's other toys didn't listen to him. And when Andy was about to go to this pizza place called Pizza Planet, he decided to push Buzz out of the window so that Andy can take him instead. Buzz found a spaceship at Pizza Planet, and Andy's neighbor Sid decided to take Buzz Lightyear and Woody home so that he can destroy these toys, because what Sid likes to do is he likes to destroy toys. The toys came alive to teach him a lesson, so play nice. And yeah, Sid got scared, and then Andy was moving out too with his mom and sister. And then Buzz and Woody felt bad for each other. All they did was Woody got Buzz out of the rocket. They flew over to the van so that Andy could be happy that he found both of his toys. And thank goodness that Buzz and Woody actually became best friends. To infinity and beyond. And to make this movie even greater, this movie came out with 3 sequels, which are all 3 of these sequels were good. And on my top 10, one of the sequels will be on there. Number 9, Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is about this clownfish named Marlin who has a son named Nemo. Nemo was excited to go to school, but his father thinks he's not ready yet. Nemo was playing with his friends, and Nemo wanted to touch a boat, but his father told him not to touch the boat. After Nemo refused to listen to his father, he touched the boat, swam back, and got captured by a scuba diver, who later put him in an aquarium. Marlin had a hard time finding him, so he found Dory, who would help him find Nemo. And Dory is actually a girl, not a boy. They found a pelican that would take him to see Nemo. And Nemo had to try to find a way to get out of the aquarium. Some fish told him that there is a way. And the one obstacle that Nemo has to avoid is Darla Sherman, who is actually the dentist's niece. And all she likes to do is just shake fish. After trying to get one of the fish got into her hair, Nemo went into the dentist's sink, went back to the ocean, and apologized to his dad for what he has done wrong. And to make this movie even way better, it also had a sequel called Finding Dory, which was a really good sequel about Dory finding her parents that she lost years ago. Really good. I recommend both of them. Number 8 is Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is about two monsters that work for a company. The green monster's name is Mike Wazowski, and the blue monster's name is James P. Sullivan, but everyone calls him Sully. Sully was really excited that he was about to break the all-time scare record. Once in a while, during his job, he found a little girl named Mary. Well, her real name is Mary, but everybody recognizes her as Boo. She's like, Mike Wazowski, Kitty, and all that other stuff. So basically, Sully is trying to keep Boo away from the monster world because human children are toxic to monsters. So, yeah. I mean, another thing is that Sully had to try to find a way to keep himself from his nemesis, Randall, and his boss, Waternews. Randall hated Sullivan because he always breaks the scare record, and he has problems with him taking care of the child. I mean, I hate Randall. He's mean, selfish, and stuff like that. But in Monsters University, he was nice until the end. After throwing Randall into a random door, because Mike and Sully had to find Boo's door, Henry J. Waternews III was angry that he... Sorry about that. That was an error. Will you stop? Okay, this is annoying. I apologize for this type of not nonsense, but for this type of error, so I better get my computer fixed. So anyway, Waternews decided to fight with Sullivan about the kid, and he said that he'll kidnap 1,000 children before the company die, and I will silence anyone who gets in my way. I mean, that's what he said, and then Mike caught him, and then Waternews got arrested. After that, the Monsters, Inc. became a laughing company, and Sully became the new CEO. 12 years later, there was a prequel called Monsters University, which is about Mike and Sully going to college, how, they don't get along at first, but then they got along, and then, after the education, they went to college. No, they went to Monsters, Inc. Okay? Okay. Number 7 is Wally. And Wally is about a robot who is like the last robot on Earth. And what he likes to do is pick up trash and make trash out of a city. Wally finds a random spaceship and this robot named Eve, who's a girl, actually. He falls in love with her and then decided to give a plant, and then, Eve shuts down, and then after Eve shuts down, the spaceship takes her to this other machine called the Axiom. And when Wally was trying to find Eve, then he meets this guy named John. And fun fact, John is voiced by John Ratzenberger, and John Ratzenberger is in every Pixar film. And he also runs into Mary, Both are friends, too, And what happened was the captain of the Axiom decided to go home, but the autopilot didn't want him to go home. So Wally and Eve had to save the Axiom, get the plant so that they can return to Earth. And then after the captain shuts Otto down, they finally got to Earth and they landed back home. It was a really great movie. I love the music, and yeah, John Ratzenberger actually does a really good job voicing John and all the other characters. Really nice. Really awesome, too. And Wally is like Jeffy a bit. But, except Jeffy is, weird. Because Wally has his name on his shirt. Well, I mean, Wally doesn't wear a shirt, but he reminds me of Jeffy because Jeffy has his name on his shirt, too. Number 6 is Cars Free. And Cars Free, you probably didn't know about Cars Free because, I haven't talked to you guys about Cars 1, and that's not really on my top 10 list, so I'm sorry. And Cars 2, that will be discussed later. So if you have seen Cars Free, that's great because Cars Free is about Lightning McQueen meeting a new racer named Jackson Storm. A car that has really high tech. And Lightning, sadly, got into a car crash. Luckily, he didn't die, but he wanted to find ways to beat Jackson Storm. And Lightning decided to meet this race car named, well, not a race car, but a trainer named Cruz Ramirez. And Cruz Ramirez was really a high-tech car, too. And she encouraged Lightning to use motion simulators, virtual reality, and treadmills so that he can be able to defeat Jackson Storm. So, Cruz trained him so that he, like on the beach and, a lot of other stuff. And, yeah. They also, Cruz and Lightning went to this, Derby 8. And then Lightning won an award for being in the Derby after disguising himself in mud. Which is pretty cool, how he won an award. Sooner or later was the big race, and Lightning had to figure out what it would take to beat Jackson Storm. And Jackson Storm didn't care about how fast he was going. All he cared about was beating the race since, he's young and, high tech. When Lightning couldn't beat Storm, he decided to have Cruz Ramirez drive and take his place. But Jackson Storm was very, 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 very angry because he thinks that Cruz Ramirez doesn't belong on a race. He's like, well, Jackson pushed Cruz into a wall and said, "You don't belong on this track." And then Cruz was like, "Yes, I do." And then Cruz won the race. But Lightning's name was up, so yeah. Lightning was thinking about when he should retire, but, At the end, Cruz and Lightning had a special race. But, here's the one spoiler. So, Lightning decided to give himself a new paint job, an old school paint job to remember his favorite race car driver, the Hudson Hornets, or Doc Hudson, which he used to be who was a retired racer, and he decided, in Cars 1, he decided to be Lightning's pit crew, and then now Lightning decided to dress up like Doc Hudson. This movie is great, I love the music. And one fact here is that this movie actually came out on my 19th birthday, June 16th, 2017. And it was 10 days after I graduated high school. Number 5 is The Incredibles. And what is The Incredibles? The Incredibles is about a superhero family. And the main character, Robert Parr, or Bob Parr, aka Mr. Incredible, and his wife, Helen Parr, or Elastigirl, and his best friend, Lucius Bess, which is Frozone. And they even have 3 kids, Dash, Violet, and Jack Jack. And they all became a superhero family, with the exception of Lucius, but he helped out. In the old days, Bob was about to get married. And then he tried to help save the day and, save the city, but got really mad when he saw Buddy Pine, or Incrediboy. Incrediboy wanted to help Mr. Incredible, but he said, I work alone. Sooner or later, superheroes actually became illegal. And then Bob, decided to just get a job at InsureCare. Later got fired. A lady named Mirage told him that you can still be a superhero again. And, yeah. So Bob decided to become the superhero he deserves. Helen was worried that where Bob was going. So, after a while, Bob's suit ripped, and then Bob actually got this suit from Edna Mode. No capes. No capes! After a while, Helen went to see Edna Mode, and she got the same suit as her husband, and so did her kids. All the kids, except for Jack Jack, went, and Dash actually got Jack Jack a babysitter. During the fight, he noticed that Incrediboy is actually Syndrome, who is actually his arch nemesis now. Syndrome traps Mr. Incredible and the family, and then after getting off the island, the big ball called the Omnidroid decided to attack the city. And then when the Incredibles got home, Syndrome decided to take care of Jack Jack. And then, after Jack Jack fought with Syndrome, then Mr. Incredible decided to throw his car at an airplane, which killed Syndrome. A couple months later, Jack Jack was entering a race, won first place, and then this fat villain named the Underminer decided to declare war on the city. And then, that was the end. The Incredibles is great. It's an awesome superhero film with awesome music. I like Edna Mode, who's pretty hilarious. I like her. She calls people darling. It's machine washable, darling. And here's a fact. I actually saw this movie the same exact day it came out in theaters. And to make this movie even better, it even had a sequel called The Incredibles 2. And that is my top 10, so you'll see it later. So, yeah. Number 4 is Cars 2. And Cars 1 was about Lightning getting lost in Radiator Springs and then, being in the Piston Cup as the top 3 racers. But Cars 2 is about Lightning McQueen and a couple other cars going out on a road trip, going around the world to international speedways. They stopped at Japan, Italy, and then London. Professor Z, which was the villain in the Cars 2, decided to, kill other cars. And this agent named Finn McMissile, he is awesome, and he's action-packed, and he's a really good spy. And, yeah, besides going on speeds, Mater wanted to come to his races, too. And Lightning's like, okay, you can. I mean, I like the beginning scene where, the cars had cocktails and then they watched TV, where Francesco was excited to have a race. I like the part when Mater thought that wasabi was pistachio ice cream. No, wasabi. And then he burned his tongue, and then, yeah. And the ending is good because at the end, Radiator Springs became a racetrack, and, Mater actually became a spy in this movie too, with Holly Hunter and Finn McMissile. And something is different about this movie compared to the first and third movie, which is the music. The music in Cars 2 is by Michael Giacchino, while Cars 1 and Cars 3 was by Randy Newman. But the music there is really awesome, and if you haven't seen Cars 2, you should definitely watch it. Really good movie. Number 3 is The Incredibles 2. And The Incredibles 2 is a continuation of The Incredibles 1. So in the beginning, the Incredibles were fighting the Underminer, and they almost got arrested until a government agent, Rick Dicker, bailed him out. Him and the other superheroes out. I mean, Frozone decided to meet a guy who was interested in changing the law of superheroes being illegal. When the Parr family got back to the hotel, Bob and Helen decided to go to the pool and reflect on what has happened. Lucius came over and told Bob and Helen about a meeting with a businessman named Winston Dever. And Winston Dever wanted to make superheroes legal. So the two men and the one lady decided to go see Winston and his sister Evelyn and talk about how superheroes are cool and making superheroes legal. And Evelyn decided to use her high tech to help. Winston decided to make Elastigirl the best superhero. And he actually gave her a special supersuit. And then, besides the special supersuit, the Parr family got a new home. Bought by Winston after their previous home blew up. So Bob had to be a stay-at-home dad while Helen Elastigirl decided to help save crime against this villain named Screenslaver, I meant to say. The Screenslaver wanted to make superheroes illegal. But, one funny thing, the Screenslaver looks like Darth Vader a bit. But then, when Helen finds out who the villain was, he talks to Evelyn. So Helen actually talks to Evelyn about what has happened to the Screenslaver. And what she actually did was put goggles on. After a while, Helen finds out that Evelyn was actually the Screenslaver, even though it was a pizza delivery guy in a mask. and she actually controlled him. Meanwhile, while Bob was a stay-at-home dad, he finds out that Jack has superpowers. And asked Edna Mode to help him with his superpowers and creating a suit. Sooner or later, Winston gathers a bunch of superheroes and some government people to help make superheroes legal in their spaceship. Evelyn puts goggles on the superheroes so that superheroes can be illegal. And then, after making superheroes, after Dash, Violet, and Par and Jack took the glasses off of the superheroes, including Mr. Incredible and Frozone, Evelyn decided to escape. And Winston was really mad at Evelyn for what she did. Helen got her. And Evelyn went to jail. At the end, superheroes were actually legal. The legal status of superheroes has been restored. Okay? And I actually saw this movie a day after it came out in theaters, and that was on my birthday. Number 2 is Toy Story 2. And Toy Story 2 is about Woody and Buzz. Well, Andy was going to cowboy camp. Woody realizes that his arm was ripped. And Woody decided to save a toy from the yard sale, Wheezy, who is a rubber penguin, until this guy named Al McWiggin decided to steal him so that he can complete his collection of a show that Woody belonged to called Woody's Roundup. Buzz decided to gather up a bunch of toys and save Woody. Well, I mean, they're actually his friends. I mean, there's Slinky, Rex, and Mr. Potato Head. And Ham, too. Did I mention Ham? Jessie was really glad that she's actually going to a museum in Tokyo with her friend Bullseye, the horse, and former friend Stinky Pete. But Stinky Pete, you know, he was nice in the beginning, but then he was rude. And yeah. So the toys actually found Woody, but Woody refused to go with Buzz, and then he changed his mind. And then when Al was, well, basically Al also hired a professional to fix up Woody. And then Al decided to pack up his collection to sell the toys at the museum in Tokyo. And the toys decided to get a car and drive to the airport where Woody was at. Stinky Pete was mad and furious, so Buzz decided to put Stinky Pete in a Barbie bag, and then Jessie was stuck. And so Woody, Buzz, and Bullseye decided to save Jessie from the airplane. And after saving them from the airplane, they went back to Andy's house, and, you know, Andy was happy. This was actually one of my favorite Pixar movies when I was a kid. I mean, I also like Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4, and I apologize for these errors. Okay, I apologize for these errors because these errors are getting super annoying, so yeah. So the sequels were all good, Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. And my number 1 favorite Pixar movie is Coco, my favorite movie of all time. And you guys probably watched my previous top 10 on my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Coco is about this 12-year-old boy named Miguel who visits the land of the dead where he meets his ancestors. Miguel wanted to be a musician, but his family actually bans music. He thinks that Ernesto de la Cruz is actually his great-great-grandfather, and when he went to his grave, he took the guitar and entered the world. He finds Hector, who takes him to find Ernesto, and when Miguel got to Ernesto's mansion, he was happy. They both got along fine until Hector told him a story about how Ernesto killed Hector, which was the poison drink. And then Ernesto decided to kill Miguel. Well, at first they actually pushed him through a water pool with Hector, and then Miguel realizes that Hector is actually his real great-great-grandfather. And he wanted to see his daughter Coco, and Coco is Miguel's great-grandmother. So, Hector, his wife Imelda, and his other family members decided to go find Ernesto, ruin his Sunrise Spectacular concert, and tell the truth about what Ernesto done to Hector. So afterwards, Miguel returned. He also played the song Remember Me to his great-grandmother. 1 year later, she died, and then Miguel was happy to play guitar again. And his family felt bad for banning music. What I like about this movie is that the music is good and everything, the storyline's interesting, you know. Yeah. Well, this isn't a wrap yet, because I also have a bonus to show you. And I do have one Pixar movie that is my least favorite of all time. My least favorite movie of all time is Brave, and this is from 2012. So if you like this movie, I respect your opinion. So Brave is about this princess named Merida who likes to do arching. And here are some things why I don't like about this movie. So this movie, I feel like, ruined the Princess collection and the Pixar collection. But I do like Disney princess movies, but I find this to be like the worst in my opinion. But my least favorite princess movie is Sleeping Beauty. So I also dislike her mother because her mother is strict and rude to her. And there was one scene where her mom puts on an ugly light blue dress. And I gotta say, Merida does look ugly in the light blue dress than this dress. And then she wanted something to change her mother's way of thinking. And what she did was she went to a witch, and then her mom turned into a bear and felt sorry. So, yeah. I feel like the characters weren't that good. You know, they were just weird and stuff. And King Fergus, which was Merida's father, he's an okay character. Mordu, you know, he's even worse, too. Gordon the Guard, voiced by Ratzenberger, he doesn't speak properly, so, you know. They're just all characters and stuff like that, so. I am actually hoping that this movie doesn't actually come out with a sequel, so. I mean, if this movie does come out with a sequel, I'm just not going to go see it in theaters. Like I said, if you like this movie, I respect your opinion. That's a wrap for my top 10 videos, and I do apologize for making my videos too long. All I'm doing is just explaining to you a summary of each of my favorite Pixar movies. And if you have any requests for top 10s, let me know in the comments below. This is Bacon Chris signing off.